Before anything had a name, there was only presence, a body untouched by expectation, a mind unmarked by fear, a heart certain of its place in the world. We arrive whole, open, unarmored, complete, no performance, no protection, just pure existence resting in its own truth. This is the beginning, the self before stories, the soul before wounds, a softness so natural we didn't even know to hold on to it. Childhood is where the first fracture appears, quiet, nearly invisible. A gesture withheld, a voice that says, not now, a presence that feels far when you needed it near. This is the wound of rejection, born when your natural expression met absence instead of welcome. So you learn to shrink the parts that seemed too much, to quiet your joy, soften your curiosity, fold your tenderness in half, not to deceive, but to belong. We call it being good, we call it being easy, but beneath it lives a small fear. If I show all of myself, will love disappear again? And so the child adapts, lighter, quieter, safer, hoping to never feel that first no again. In adolescence, the world expands and the ache expands with it. We reach for belonging with every fragile part of ourselves. This is the wound of abandonment, born when stability wavered, when presence felt unpredictable, when connection was never guaranteed. So we cling to those who stay and fear the footsteps of those who might leave. We mistake closeness for safety, distance for danger, attention for worth. Every silence feels like fading, every goodbye feels personal. Yet, even in the ache, a small whisper remains. Love was never meant to be chased, it was meant to be remembered. This is the age when the world begins to watch us and we begin to watch ourselves. The wound of humiliation is born when our natural joy or needs were met not with kindness but with embarrassment. So we learned to protect ourselves by minimizing ourselves, to laugh first before anyone could laugh at us, to help too much so we would never feel like a burden. We hide longing behind humor, fragility behind competence, truth behind an elegant performance. Humiliation teaches us to shrink our needs to keep our dignity safe. We smile through the ache because it looks good on camera. Adulthood arrives with roles to fill, and we fill them with strength, effort, control. The wound of betrayal forms when trust was broken too early by others or by the parts of ourselves we couldn't protect. So we become capable, decisive, unyielding. We depend on no one. We expect little. We control what we can, not to dominate, to stay safe. But the life built on control slowly hardens around us. And one day, quietly, we see it. The deepest betrayal was abandoning our own needs to stay in charge. Control kept us safe, yes, but it also kept us alone. One day, the striving cracks, not from failure, from fatigue. This is the wound of injustice, born when warmth was missing, when emotions were brushed aside, when being strong was safer than being seen. So you learn to be impeccable, measured, disciplined, not to impress the world, but to avoid feeling wrong. It is self control pushed to an extreme, a quiet rigidity that keeps your softness locked away. But perfection is heavy, and the self that never loosens forgets how to breathe. You have lived more to avoid mistakes than to feel alive. So you let the shoulders fall, you let emotion return, and in that gentleness, you rediscover the self who was never meant to be flawless, only human. From the quiet, a gentler version of yourself emerges. You gather your pieces with tenderness, not urgency, a gathering of all the versions of you that tried, protected, survived. You no longer run from your wounds, you listen to them. Rejection becomes the doorway to self acceptance. Abandonment becomes the path towards inner safety. Humiliation becomes the strength to be seen. Betrayal becomes the permission to choose differently. Injustice becomes the compass pointing home. You stop chasing what was never meant to be external. You no longer perform life, you inhabit it. You begin to breathe in your own rhythm. You are not becoming new, you are becoming whole, becoming honest, becoming you. You lift your gaze, and tomorrow is already unfolding. You see others walking home to themselves too, carrying their own wounds, their own awakenings, their own small victories of becoming. No one is healed, not fully, but everyone is trying to grow into something truer. And in this slow movement towards ourselves, we begin to shape something greater, a future built not on perfection, but on presence, not on performance, but on connection, not on fear, but on care. Tomorrow is not a place we reach alone. It is something we build in the space between us, with small shifts of the heart that ripple outwards. This is la séance, the moment we remember that becoming is not solitary. A softer tomorrow is a place we build together.